The Enlightenment chasers. Royalties of peace. We are stealing the storms back to peace that has no storm while holding on to perfect peace.
Stealing the storms.
It is impossible to travel this road without holding on to perfect
peace that has no storm.
How do we hold on to perfect peace? It is
holding
by hope
on to perfect peace
and faith.
Yes,
for we had once been.
No matter what may be happening,
there
we
is
must
evidence
hold our ground
that goes by with us every day.
We are enabling
a traveling mercy.
While on this journey,
every day we draw closer,
eternity perfect,
to the destination perfect peace. Yes, we are on a journey.
The mind battlefield free.
This is
we
the
must reach
17th episode of the Golden Age podcast. It is February 21st of 2025.
The 15th episode of the Golden
podcast
Age.
by Maris Free Lefai.
By Maris Free Lefai. February 19th
what do I have for us today?
2025. It is a Wednesday, my water day.
34th day of the president.
Must I please bring to us this refreshing
in the White House
of
His
the mind,
Excellency President Donald
at this
Trump
time
and his administration has shaken not just the United States of America,
no matter the chaos,
not just
be able
America
to hold
of a war,
the end goal,
but has shaken the world.
The solution to the problem is the core,
a reminder of the purpose.
For without the solution, there cannot be a problem.
Our ancestors.
The problem is generated from the solution. What am I saying? The
United States of America.
An affirmation,
like a dream
of the
today,
solution, impossible,
a reality
to be disrupted
in existence.
While we are navigating through this time of the journey, must we reach the destination?
I say USA,
our origin
is the miniature of a multicultural
It is not new to
world.
us.
Understand why,
but rather the problem
and the purpose
should be new to us. But impossible because we have been through this road for a while. We come. This is not the first
from a world
presidency or administration of the United States of America,
the new world.
Even in our own,
we do not look forward to have another world.
Individualized home.
This too is enough for us.
We experience
to be
conflicts
to reach
that we need to resolve between parents,
of our purpose.
siblings,
America in general is the enlightenment of the
we all understand that we all
world
always have something
which is Europe
to worry about. Might be easy to solve. Some just take a longer time, which is why we always enable the short-term goals and the long-term goals.
Oceania.
It might have come to our awareness that in this administration there has been so much
this new world,
dread, disruption
by these continents on the other side
that has not been experienced like in the days of the civil rights,
politics, spirituality.
The fourth, a long time of silence
that breaks,
such that just a little shake
this
of the
greatness,
ground, it will begin to feel like
land.
We can all just go down.
And separated them into two. The ocean.
How we express how we feel right now is because of the past. We have
the new world
of stories
started with those
in the past, which we don't want them to repeat
Asia,
themselves.
Europe, the Bering Strait,
and those by
going through the news,
sea.
according to
Today,
history, trying to gather information of how
transportation by
we, the
land and by
people, are
sea,
reacting towards the administration of present
has
time.
always been
The commencement of the golden age,
a
how
very
it is
familiar
being approached.
road
What is the
to the understanding of our purpose
curiosity
of being on
of
earth.
the people? Is it positive or negative? Negative can never be real, but only a daydreaming.
In the other side of the world, or a
Of
nightmare
America, that we all can only individually awaken out of it without the other.
we are spread out
But no one can know if you are having a nightmare or not
with a
until
free
you
movement
awaken
of the
and tell your
mind to
story,
think, which is why we were able to have a dream. And to the new world, our dream,
the White
we
House contradicting
stacked
the
up,
president.
starting
It's
with the
not new to
indigenous
us.
people
When we, the
of
people,
various
contradict ourselves,
parts of the other
we
side.
hardly can really relate with our own individual selves. Only still
Number
in
doesn't
training
really matter.
to understand who we are of
But
an individual
enlightenment
being.
of the mind,
We make mistakes and correct ourselves,
the contribution
but we do
unto
not
this
want
enlightenment,
drastic
this dream,
mistakes or
this
mistakes that are
enlightenment to
prolonged
reach the
into
freedom of the mind,
chaos.
the
How it will
freedom from
resolve?
mental slavery.
The
Slavery
government
did
of the
not
United
start
States
in America. Slavery started
of America,
with the unborn
which I always
into a
want
kind of
to
a birth,
pave it in my mind to its expectation.
impossible to keep.
The capital
Human
of the
development
multicultural world.
shows us it is a journey, a reminder that we are
Some
on
may
a
not be in
journey
agreement
to it.
claiming
We
that
are on a journey
the United States of America has always put itself of a white
There have been
supremacy,
so much questioning
where no
about
other race
immigrants
can speak out except of a white race,
deportation.
dictating to all other
Are we all going to deport ourselves?
cultures in the world and nations in the world
It takes the
what should
understanding
be
of our
done
purpose
and what
of the
should
new
not be
world,
done without
a
consideration.
supposed tool to work with, to reach the
Watching the
understanding
news
of our individual self, needing to reach the highest of enlightenment
and learning about
where we all belong, of one, indivisible. Now being stacked up and not spread
supremacist
out,
far right or
there
white
is no reason
supremacist far right
to multiply,
extremist
like we were in the free world.
named Sir Anders
The new world is more of
Breivik
like an
in the
imprisonment,
Norway.
a restraining order.
Who,
The new world order.
well, they say he killed, but we understand that he commanded the killing of
The indigenous
77
people call it home,
in Norway.
not because they want to throw us out,
Also,
but reminding us if we have to part, then we must part in order. The first, the second, and they can only be the last. The kids can, but have we reached
healing
the end goal, the
the same
purpose
day.
of the new world? Why did we come over?
It is said that this is a
Why
modern
was there
mass
even a
murder,
shift? Why was there even
indicating that he was not
a
a
division
primitive man, nor
of
an
the continent?
uneducated individual? We are not animals in the
Is
sense
this
that we
home?
are
Is this home?
higher minds.
The new world
Humans are
is
higher
no
minds and not
home.
animals. Animals
It's no
are
home for anybody,
primitive
not even the indigenous people.
creatures that cannot
And they know that
attain a higher state
because even
of intelligence.
when we put
The other part
ourselves
of
in the world,
in the kingdom
is not
animalia,
home either,
it defeats
which is why we have
our
conflicts and
expectation
resistance
being humans.
towards each other. in this
There are
state
very
of
close
being
relations with some animals
called
and
humanity.
plants in
A
the ocean.
supposed healing ground
It is not about what you look like.
to return
It's about your
home
mind.
of perfect peace.
And humans are a very specific and unique kind
The
of a being.
indigenous people who came here first were not at
When we
peace.
look back in the past,
They were also having conflicts and resistance before the
complications we
European
have had.
came like light. They were expecting light,
Of complicated war orders.
but they also came with their own resistance and conflicts, adding on to the struggles
These
that
are
they had.
only
Has
owing
only
to
been a
a
journey.
long-term unsolved
Yet the hope
problems,
stays. Peace,
which is why thinking out loud
unshakable,
is so recommended.
our end goal.
And how we address
Europe,
what is being thought
though
out
not
loud
perfect,
matters.
had very great
For
influence
no one is primitive,
until today,
even when what is said may
trying to
seem
bring the world
silly
together.
or fictional.
There was so
It is
much
very
pressure
important
that
to
led
enable a
to
lesson.
separatism, segregation, the need for segregation.
It seems like we are beginning to wonder
during
how
this
much
time
power should the
of
president
enabling
really have
segregation,
over the nation.
the black race found
Or is
themselves
it time
helpless.
for us to
The natives
terminate the
at least had a
executive
ground
branch
to anchor on,
and let the legislative
but the
and
blacks
judiciary take control?
struggle.
There is no branch that does not
The
have its
newly
weakness, no individual without a weakness. So many complaints have been
arrival
going on
of
with the
blacks
president
struggled because the first who
of
were
this
among the
time
indigenous were one of a kind,
the
a
firing
multicultural
of workers
and not distinct of race.
that has led to some mismanagements, and
So there was so much differences
flu
between the blacks of the indigenous
and
to those who arrived with the Europeans, the white race.
unexpected
So the
malfunctions
blacks enabling the civil right of non-violence was to plead for the chance for them to be able to have an anchor
might not
so they can be able to
be
stand their grounds to understand
expressed
what
the
they are
way it will
fulfilling
be if the president was a
in this
soft
new world.
or gentle president and we have the bird flu
The
or
decree
other
of our
malfunctions.
forefathers
It might be
needing to be
because
fulfilled
there is need
by
for
three different
recruitment
groups,
of
the
readjustment
indigenous,
and
the mix,
and
the black
shifts.
race
But in this
of
case, it's
distinct
more of
and the
like the
white
president
race
is the one
of
trying to
distinct.
make shifts and things are happening.
Till today,
Or
we still struggle
might have been
of
that
comprehending our purpose.
technically
Because at the same time,
they
we're
might
trying
have
to enable the
enabled
healing. At the same
mismanagement
time, we
and
are
trying to
enabling
fix it
conflicts.
owing
At the
to
same
errors
time, we
that
are
are happening.
cleaning up. At the same time, we are putting
Whatever the
dirt.
circumstance that we are facing right now,
It seems like no work being done, but
what
there is
we
work
really
being done,
want
and
to
people are
emphasize
really
is
getting
the
tired.
need for
But how do we reach
reliability,
rest if we do not come to the understanding
self
of why the new world
reliability?
was established? The
I learned
force that separated
some leaders are even
this other side
preferring
called
to
New World from the other is still in power,
quit their jobs
and we ascend and join in
than having
and
to deal
encourage
with this
those who are
presidency.
still on the mission
In some cases,
to
might not
accomplish their
be
purpose.
the best
It would
idea, but
take
in some cases,
the
it may be
comprehension
understandable. Just the fear
of the
of not
three
being
groups
one of those
of reaching enlightenment of
experiencing
expected
destruction happening
to
without being
seize
able to be in control.
this workforce
Many, uh, some are expressing about
unto perfect
those
peace,
under this presidency have no choice but to follow the president's
expecting
executive
peace
orders. Like the Congress
was too
has no
early
power.
back then.
That this
The
presidency
need
is really
to
becoming
stabilize self, the
overboard
cry for equality of education,
with
the
control
cry for equality of
that is
habitation,
affecting people
to be able to
complicatedly.
resume of the divinity of self and understand our purpose of humanity
I looked at
with no
leadership
violence.
qualities of people.
it is very obvious that
the
you always
conflicts
need
became very,
flexibility
very
when it comes to
complicated.
managing people, because we are not
Sometimes,
just a people, but people
and
with
we
their
all
own
know
points of view
why
and weaknesses.
some become very violent.
Some are asymptomatic to their own
because
problems,
of fear,
while
worries,
others are
anxiety
symptomatic.
that heightens.
And those that are symptomatic are very dangerous
the
because
fear
it's
of
very
losing
hard
power
to correct them
over the
or help
others
them to
who
correct
are ignorant.
themselves. No one
Ignorance is our
corrects you, but
struggle,
you can correct yourself. Like
not
I
even
said
power.
in the last episode, that if you take a horse to the stream,
If
you
we
cannot
have
force it to
power
drink.
and
Only
equal
it
of
can
the
drink
mind,
its water.
we won't mind who rules.
And no matter how long it cries
But
thirst,
because of
you can only keep
ignorance that
on
exists among
encouraging.
us, we are
But
scared
in this
of
case,
whoever takes power,
we have
because their ignorance can really
the young generation
encourage
who
or
are
enable
so
or
prior
enforce
to our very
conflicts
existence.
that can lead
Because
to
it is by
terrible
our own
regrets.
reason that they are here.
Today, we begin to
They did not come
realize
here on
how
their
much we
own.
are
We
trying
made
to
them to come
avoid
here.
complicated
And we
regrets,
are
trying to
responsible
clean
in
up
making sure that they are
our
taken care of
confusion
and
and ignorance. No one is perfect.
reach
The need for
integrity of
segregation,
expected.
healthy segregation,
Coming to our senses
why our
requires
forefathers
reviewing
of the black race
leadership
were
and management.
against segregation
The cohesive leadership
was because
requiring
of the
immediate compliance.
poor conditions
The
of that
authoritative
time, of how the blacks who just arrived
mobilizing people
were being humiliated.
via
Humiliation in the sense
vision,
that they were not up to their standard of expectation, looking like a failure
this setting leadership,
among the others. The indigenous at
expecting
least stepping up,
excellence and
the white race
self-direction.
maintaining themselves,
Affiliative leadership
advancing, but the black race were
centers around
really
building emotional
under the
bonds.
weather
Democratic leadership
and really
involves
needed
creating
assistance.
consensus
How we got to this
and
place
coaching
of
leadership,
reaching stability, we may
developing
say
people for
that
the future.
the
We
white
are
race helped
supposed to
us, the
be
indigenous helped us, just like how the indigenous helped the
coaching
white race, just like how
the
among the
future,
indigenous
but rather
they
we are
help each
faced
other.
with our own
Even though
weaknesses.
we have conflicts among each other, there is still always that good that
We are not efficient
always
coaches.
goes on. There is still
Okay.
growth,
Some are blaming it on those who elected the president.
even while we struggle.
The majority of the votes. Are
The
they in
growth of
regret?
perfect
Is it
peace,
about
the
the
growth of
president or about
enlightenment,
what
the
is
growth
going
of
on?
reaching perfection, to
Interestingly,
realize that
today
being
I
stocked
heard
up,
from a source
being
that
stacked
it is not really
on
about
each
the
other
president, but who is feeding the
is an
president
awareness that there is not
with
possibility to bring down
information of
another to be younger than self, but to all reach enlightenment
racial
perfect.
supremacy,
Becoming a
white
teacher is not to make
supremacy.
a student, but to enable the student to become your colleague. We are looking for equality. And now, when we blacks are asking, where is our equality, and not realizing where we are falling short of trying to bring
Order.
down, to multiply, to make students, to have children, to keep the earth like home,
It seems like there's an
we still keep
investigation
that
going on
tradition of our ancestors
on who is feeding the president
because we feel deprived. We feel like
of white supremacy
pushed out
philosophy,
prematurely to the new world.
enabling the
Even
domination
if the first of us
by the exclusion
have to complain, we coming in
and detriment
now cannot
of
have a
other
complaint. If we still have a complaint,
races
then we
and
call
ethnic groups
our black race
like
stupid.
blacks, Jews,
We call our black race unworthy.
and others.
It is time for those who are coming in now, the
Is
immigrants
this what is
from the
really
black
going on?
countries,
According to my
to
point
really
of view,
establish the expected,
may not be
which
what others
our brothers
are
and sisters,
experiencing.
born of our first forefathers who
I'm
came
beginning
here
to
through
realize that we the
violence,
people are first of all
confusion.
needing to first of all consider
Violence
our
come by
weaknesses.
confusion, I have
That
said.
is first of all destroy
Violence come by
the purpose of America
ignorance, the
in
fear of
general.
ignorance.
Before we even look at the United States of
What
America
ignorance
alone,
can do to good
America has been
is
so
very
much
regrettable. Until today, we
disrupted
understand that.
by us, the people of the United
It is
States of
very dangerous
America.
when you stand a beautiful building and you
Not
watch
because
it
it's
come
our
down.
fault, but because we were
Unnecessary
chosen by our forefathers
ignorance.
and placed in a place where we
Ignorance can
need to
destroy
shine
us if we
light.
do not educate each
But
other.
being the coaches, we are
The
not
demand for
coaching of
equality of
expected because
education
we do not really
has
understand
only shone light
the
to
purpose
us.
of our forefathers
has only shone light upon us
is demoralizing.
of where our weaknesses are, so we seek
The
wellness.
expectation of the
Not
United
to
States
shame
of
us,
America being
not
the
to
light of the
humiliate
world.
us. We
Enlightenment
cannot
Jesus.
abuse each other.
If you find yourself today in the United States
If we
of
have
America,
to talk to each other, let's talk with some respect. We all
or
have a
even one
weakness.
diaspora,
And there are short-term and long-term weaknesses.
the
Some have
diasporas of the United
short-term
States of
weaknesses,
America,
and when they recover, they should be able not
all
to
over
make
the world.
another weakness by
A calling
maintaining
is not just to follow, but to be
integrity
active.
and not
And
despair
active takes the
of
understanding
self
of your
and
purpose.
others.
If it is
It is time we begin to really
undefined,
retrain
we find ourselves
our
in a
mind
situation like this
to
today.
encourage the young to maintain their
Not blaming the president,
integrity.
not blaming the
For the
Congress,
Generation Z
but
have
we the
greater
people need to
integrity
reconsider.
than the X and Y
Before we
generation.
point a finger
While we are healing,
at a
let us
man,
make sure that the
the rest
integrity of the Generation Z is not disrupted.
of the fingers are pointing back
We have come
at the
from
women,
far.
because it is a woman that
We need to restore of
biologically
expected
births
because
the
the
child.
journey is very
It's
long.
unfortunate that when you point a finger at the
It's
man,
very
you're
long.
pointing the finger at the mother.
A day where there's
And it
violence,
goes on and on.
it's
The
like a
man can
forever.
never be blamed.
It's like, when is it going
The
to come
blame
to an
always
end?
ends with the woman.
Have you ever been in that
And
night time
unfortunately, the woman is always the
when you're begging for the
subordinate of the
day
man.
to be done already?
And why? Because
An hour
the
is like
woman
500
is
days.
responsible of the man
Just
being
praying
where
for
they
that
are.
sin to be over with.
It is the
When I say the
woman's
journey is
pride
long,
to stand
it
for
is
the
because
right.
of the violence.
If we stand for the right
which we are
and then the
resolving,
opposite is happening, then we can have a voice.
when we
But when
already
we are in
know it's
support
by a blink of an eye to get into the
of what is
destination,
not right,
perfect peace,
then we have the blame.
then because of the
Where
healing
can
of
we
our
complain
weaknesses,
when we are
our violence come from our divisions.
victims?
Segregation is to heal,
When we are
not
responsible.
to disrupt, not to create
How can I
destruction. We segregate to congregate.
call for help when I
When
am
we
the
separate
criminal?
ourselves, we anchor to expectation, and then we unite
March is the
to
month
one.
of
We seek perfect
women,
peace,
the women's month.
the mind, battlefield free.
Women are really called all over the world.
When we begin to re-experience things like this,
It
I
is the
hope
call
this
for
beautiful
women
episode
to stand their
encourage
ground.
us
Women
to
rule the
understand what
world,
is going on in the
but the
world
men
today,
control the world.
comparing to the
It is only possible
new
where there
world.
is a fault on
All
the
the
woman.
nations in the new world must be
We are
able
on
to
a
become
journey,
one. The
not
more
trying
we
to make
show
an extended
separation
stay.
in anger, that is
What does
not
that mean to
segregation.
us?
That is
Taking power,
humiliation of self.
taking high seats,
We
being
must be able
women.
to educate ourselves
We cannot
of
have
our
one
purpose
left
is
behind.
not to multiply.
Like one of the leaders said,
This is not home. We are rather returning home. This is
injustice
only a journey. Being here
in one
first on the journey should
place
encourage others
is injustice
to
for
reach the
all.
destination of expected.
It starts like a seed
Being here first does not
growing
mean
to
you
a
must leave
tree.
first. If you have the
What
strength
is
to encourage
injustice
others,
here?
why not encourage others? Do not say if it was
The
about
young
enlightenment,
generation
then the indigenous people should have already been out of this place.
enabling chaos.
Do not say if it was only
Is it the
about
president
enlightenment,
enabling
then the
chaos,
white
or
people will
has
not
it been
even
an
be in
underlying
existence.
problem only surfacing?
Do not say if it was only about enlightenment,
Is it the
then the black
president that is
people would have
enabling
already
the problem,
returned
or is it an underlying problem
to
surfacing?
where they come from.
Should we wait to leave the
It is not
world
about returning
and
to
we as
Africa
the
or
children
back to Europe
suffer
or back to Asia.
our weaknesses, or do
It is
we want to
about
solve it now?
spreading enlightenment.
It's time
Our
for us to
stacking
really
is to shine light like the city on the hill.
understand
The
what
light that
government
shines
is.
into
Our
all other
purpose
parts
is
of
to
the
reach
world,
enlightenment, not to
even in the darkest depth
fill
of the
the
ocean.
earth. We're not
That
trying
enlightenment that reaches
to
even the
popularize the
highest
earth,
of the skies.
but to become
When we
of
say the sky is a limit,
enlightenment expected.
it's of the physical self. The
Quantity
enlightenment has no limit.
is the
Destination perfect peace is eternity. Let us
expanding
be still as storms,
ground for every
holding hands
single one to
together
have facilitation,
and caring for the
to
young
walk
to fulfill the expected end that we need
with quality.
of no more
Quality life takes
descending,
quantity.
but all ascending
You need to be able to
ascending of the
maneuver,
mind, not trying to make another
not
new
being
world.
stuck,
We are not trying to go to Mars.
reach your end goal.
And even when it's been said, it's a reminder that, hey, do you remember we just came to a new world and we're not even still able to keep it? When we hear about Mars, it's to remind us about the new world, which our forefathers started and we unable to even fulfill it.
White supremacy
coming
is
by
not
planes
just the race,
and
but the
luxurious
enlightenment
cruise
of the
ships,
mind,
which they didn't have the
which we all
opportunity to.
have. But
They
when
may have
one stays
excuses, but we
dormant,
have no excuse.
what do you expect the other
Our
to become?
forefathers might have soon
Dominant.
gone short. They might have been held in chains.
And the
And
one
we now in
dominion
golden
can only be
necklaces
enlightenment for the other
and still fighting
to
each other.
recover and equalize.
It is time we begin to
Equality
really
for each
realize that
other takes
our audience are our
an awakening,
forefathers watching us,
an awareness of a
stepping on
weakness,
them,
seeking wellness.
instead of becoming
Maybe
one
a long term of
equality.
asymptomatic
Quantity
does not deprive us from
is how
reaching the
much room
equality
one
that
person
we need.
has, not how many are in a room. It's time for modesty. It's time for
Healing
smartness.
can only happen.
Technology all over the world
How we handle
is to
the
reduce
problem.
manual labor.
When someone is expressing
If we have to live
pain,
luxuriously, it should not
we need to
be
be able to
to
have
enable a
therapeutic
battlefield of the
communication.
mind.
When the
We are not
president
trying to
is
appease the
complaining,
physical
we
body
need to figure
to
out
wrestle
how to
spiritually.
enable a coolant.
Our ancestors are
Not
watching
trying
us.
to make more provocation
How much work we
and
have
then
done
blame
so
it
far.
on the one crying. When a
We should be
baby
able
is
to reach
crying,
the end
you
goal,
don't provoke the baby. You try
which is
to
home,
find
perfect
means
peace,
to have a place where you can
of understanding our purpose of
walk
humanity. Is to
eye
enable the
level
guideline,
to comprehension. We are
which
trying
we
to heal, not trying
express through human development.
to destroy.
Integrity, our end goal.
Talking about
Let our senior
cleansing,
stage
ethnic
of our
cleansing,
being start even from childhood.
removing people
Integrity
from a land can be very,
is
very
wisdom. Integrity
detriment
is seniorhood.
because it destroys your identity.
We are capable of being perfect from child
This is like the asymptomatic
to adult because
that
we are
the
raised
nomads
by
have been
each
going
other.
through. Our
It takes a
ancestors who
village
have
to
been
raise a
traveling,
child, not a child alone. So
migrating,
why should a child
have the
struggle
asymptomatic diagnosis
when we
of
adults are the integrity?
identity?
Let us reflect and appease each other. Peace steals the storm, back to peace that has no storm, looking
Relation.
unto perfect peace, holding on
The
to perfect
crisis
peace
of identity relation.
by hope
When you stay long
and faith.
away, coming back to your
Thank
own
you.
people, it's like coming to another new land, not being able
We
to relate with each other.
enlightenment chasers, royalties
Every
of
stage
peace.
of our being,
We are still in
when
the
you
storms, back to
clock
peace
5,
that has no storm.
you are
While
not that 2 months
holding on
old.
to perfect
When you
peace.
clock 12,
Please,
identity confusion, role confusion
it's
is not just
impossible
only at the age of
to
12,
travel this road
but
without
continuous.
holding on to perfect peace.
Every new is like
How do we
confusion.
hold on to perfect peace? It is by
You have to
hope
relearn every
and
stage
faith.
that you come into.
For we had once been.
What others have experienced, you may experience it, but in a little different.
There is evidence that goes by with
Strategy,
us every day.
approach,
A traveling
with a
mercy.
different strategy approach. It's time for us to really reconsider the era in which we live
Every
in.
day we draw closer
Smarter techniques. What is smart? Smart
to
is
the
what brings
destination
good.
perfect peace.
It is not
Yes, we
smartness
are
to
on the
breast
journey.
pump. It is rather hard
This
work.
is the 17th
The
episode
smartness is the
of
child
the Golden Age podcast.
taking time to
It is
suck
February 21st of
on the
2025.
milk pumped
The podcast by
to come to their
Maris Free
senses
Defy.
that I'm not supposed to even eat from a mammalia
What do I have for us today?
gland, but rather eating plants eating plants is a struggle
34th day of the
and needing to
president
evacuate
in
these
the White
premises
House.
of complication.
His Excellency
Complication
President
only means
Donald
a place
Trump
of landing, of pondering of
and
the
his
mind.
administration has shaken not just
It only
the United
becomes
States
complicated when
of
we
America,
extend the stay. It is supposed to be a
not
learning
just
ground
America of the
and not
world,
what to keep for tradition or become
but has shaken
habitated.
the world.
It's not a habitat to keep.
A reminder.
It's not to become an adaptive place to live in, but rather a place to
design,
learn, and return to the expected of the mind.
The United
While we are
States of
going through
America.
politics, let us understand politics is spirituality.
Like a dream today.
Humanity is spirituality.
A reality.
Whatever humans are doing is spirituality.
In existence.
And spirituality is divinity, and divinity is eternity. Eternity is perfect peace. Our journey from the place of storm, of brainstorming, should not be complicated.
When I say
let us heal
USA
from the extending
is the miniature of a
prolongation
multicultural world
of time.
Understand why
all the pressures we are feeling
and
of the earth, fires, and all this, the firing of guns, is because of the prolongation.
We come
the increase of population
from the world,
extending our stay. Every time we are reaching
into
the end
new
stages, we make another new.
We do not look
against the expectation of our forefathers.
This
they are supposed to be ascending and no one descending
to reach the perfection.
If they made a mistake, we learn from the mistakes and make lessons, and the lessons become blessings. Not a tradition, but reaching reasoning. For they have reached so many reasoning,
America
and
in
we
general
have received this reasoning a blessing.
The enlightenment
must we be able to complete the rest of the reasoning we need to achieve. Constitution is a care plan. Must be worked with effectively. It wouldn't have been this hard if we had started gracefully. Asia. It is not only by one president to begin to emphasize the need to work efficiently, with quality. It's not about people looking for jobs, but rather people retiring from jobs. Dread needing to by these retire early on the other side. Meaning work already done. What people will take 60 years to complete, if you completed it in 5 years, what a celebration. Politics is spirituality. The of 55 years. That we must not work hard. It's time we begin to comprehend this what greatness is trying to of land come to us from our ancestors and separated them into two. The tree, the has ocean, reached its fullness of blossoming. It's no longer a seed, but we must be able to help each other adapt to the new world, to the perfection of our being, without experiencing disruptions. In Asia, Europe, when we have babies, we cannot be transforming into air, and those by sea. We should be able to be humans of expected. For the young, according to history, of expected. I hope this message, transportation by land and by sea, helps us to reflect while we journey this road. Has always been. Losing your identity is like very familiar. It's like being killed. Road to the understanding of our purpose. The ethnic cleansing of Gaza. It's like killing the Palestinians. Killing their identity is like destroying them. In the other side of the world, we need not gun massacre. We need not of America making complicated griefs. It's time to cease fire, and ceasefire will take some out movements which are healthier, free movement of the mind to any other. Which is why we were able to have a dream of mutual love. And to the new world, our dream, we are and healing of wellness without discrimination. Starting with the indigenous people, leading on to the next president, who is preparing himself to clock in part of the other side after a few years, to really be able to number doesn't really matter. Poison self with all the complications, but rather enable a strategy that will appease the contribution and not this demoralize this dream, the healing that we're trying to achieve. This enlightenment to reach the freedom of our yesterday mistakes. The freedom from mental slavery really need us to slavery did not start in America. And wealth. Not slavery just started health with the unborn, or not just wealth, but both. Into a kind of a birth. Thank you all for listening. Peace stills the storm. Back into to peace that has no storm.
to keep looking onto perfect peace.
Human
Please comment
development
and let us
shows
meditate
us it
and
is a
think
journey,
together and help
a
each other
reminder that we
learn or
are on a
relearn
journey.
what should be
We are on a
established
journey.
so we do not conflict each other. Thank you.